Hello and welcome to the fourth house, Beim Schlafengehen, translated from German to English as upon going to sleep, subtitled Reflections on Entering the Dream World. I'm Shayne M. Nygaard, and this is one of the videos in my series From Sunrise Through Nightfall. Check out the intro video with that same name. This is where I'm reflecting on the 12 houses of the Zodiac via their respective time of day and the quality of the light at that time of day. My title, Beim Schlafengehen, is translated from one of Strauss's 4 last songs, and it really captures my explorations of the fourth house so well, as we'll see. So one thing I'll always return to, and as you watch these videos, you will understand how important this is. But I will always return to psychologist Carl Jung's direction to stick with the image. This is especially on point for astrology. As we all know, astrology is just filled with imagery. This is my favorite Jung quote because there's just so much to it. Sticking with the image is sticking with the imagination. The imagination. I mean, imagination, it's how we look at and perceive things, everything. We imagine the world around us. Do a 360 and look all around you and look up and down and just consider all of this. This is the image you are within at the moment while you're watching this video. He also said image is psyche. So we see when we're imagining, sticking with the image, we're active in psyche's world. And with psyche as the Greek word for soul, we can understand when we're imagining, we're ensouled. And this is huge, especially for our astrology and all its associated imagery. When we stick with the astrological images, our astrology is ensouled. And we have multiple images and perspectives from which to understand the houses in astrology. And for the fourth house, it's known as the house of home and our roots. It's our personal or familial heritage. It's hypogeon, or below the earth. It's our private life. And in medical astrology, it corresponds with digestion and breasts. It's subterranean, again, below the earth, and deals with themes around the end of life, which we'll see in a very symbolic way in this presentation. So when we stick with the images of the times of day associated with each house, with the 12 houses divided into equal 2-hour blocks to create a 24-hour day, we start at 6 a.m. at the ascendant and progress clockwise. In this model, the fourth house is at the 10 p.m. to midnight point. It's the late evening. So this is so often, but not consistently, but so often the time when we retire from the day. We turn off the lights, close our eyes, and begin to enter the world of sleep and dreams, hence upon going to sleep. Beim Schlafengehen, notable in Strauss's 4 last songs, is from the Hermann Hesse poem when he wrote, "All my senses now want to sink in slumber, and my unguarded soul wants to soar in freest flight within enchanted nighttime circles, to live 1,000-fold profoundly." I mean, this really helps us recognize an enchanting quality about this house. Or, as Calvin from the comic strip Calvin and Hobbes says, less enchantingly, I have faced all the reality I need to face. All my senses now want to sink in slumber. In the fourth house imagery, The reality of the sensual world, literally what we call reality, the world of the senses, rests. When the senses sleep, we enter senselessness. I mean, it doesn't always make sense. And the enchanting inner world of our fantasies and our dreams begins to wake. It's very much about our inner world, our home within ourself. And as I mentioned, when we hear the term end of life, with the fourth house dealing with those kind of themes and qualities, when we leave reality and enter fantasy, we are in a way ending life and beginning dreams. I love that. So let's see what this means, what this looks like through a couple of distinct but sort of similar chart examples. I mean, I love this one. It's so fitting and so cool for this. In the fourth house here, we see expansive Jupiter conjunct the light of the silvery moon. I mean, remember silver here. I mean, it's the chart of Louis Lumiere. Lumiere meaning light. And Louis Lumiere is the pioneer of film cinematography, the art of making motion pictures. And what do motion pictures do? Lumiere and his brother pioneered a way to take the images from our inner world, our dream world, our inner fourth house, and bring them out into the wide, think Jupiter, silver, think moon, screen. I love this. It's so very fourth house, Jupiter conjunct moon, and just fourth house time of day in general. I love it. It's even right there with the time of day, as no matter what literal time of day we may go to the movie theater, we enter into darkness, as if closing our eyes to the real world and opening them to the world of the film. I mean, it's really quite beautiful. But we can also go even deeper here and turn to Jung for further fourth house insights. Jung said, and I quote him, "If you are in search of soul, go first to your fantasy images, for that is how the psyche presents itself directly. All consciousness depends upon fantasy images." I mean, whether we're going to sleep and closing our eyes, or awake and closing our eyes to just enter the dream world, we enter the dream world and the imagination. Both are worlds of fantasy images when you look at it this way. And when we sleep, we inevitably enter this world. So we've heard the fourth house as the beginnings and endings. I mean, when I think about that, like the end of life, everything begins in imagination and dreams. I mean, example, we dream and imagine what we wish our lives to be like, what we want to do with our life. And the journey of the imagination ends when we make it a reality. And this continues all the time. I mean, shrink it down to a day. What will this day be like? What do I want to do today? What do I imagine myself doing? So again, the threshold of the fourth house is reality and dreams. So we see this threshold expressed vividly in this chart's fourth house, which we're going to do this time as a reveal. The story of this chart, we'll look at the bigger picture here because it's a different kind of chart, but we'll go for it. It includes, when we start at the top at the 10th house, a 10th house Chiron wounding of some sort. There's a Beauty and the Beast themed journey of the 9th house Taurus moon. The dense shadows and hard edges of conflict of the Aries Jupiter in the 8th house. Check out my 8th house video. There's a 7th house Venus in Pisces, suggesting high romanticism. The blurred lines from the sixth house Mercury and the theatrics and genius of the fifth house Aquarian Sun. I mean, we can put these pieces together with that fourth house focus of 4 planets. And there's also a third house intensity of Pluto. And when we gather all these pieces together, we see the Broadway debut of Andrew Lloyd Webber's The Phantom of the Opera. Christine sings, "In sleep, he sang to me. In dreams, he came." I mean, this exceptional story about Christine's conflict between her external reality and the seductive, mystical, terrifying, dreamlike underworld of the Phantom. It's subterranean, it's below the earth. She descends into his world. And there's no garish light of day in this world. It's a world filled with candlelight. And the Phantom beckons, open up your mind, let your fantasies unwind. I mean, this is the seduction, the call of the Phantom. Consider what Jung said about fantasy images. I mean, same thing. Am I right? Am I right here? So check out the video of Davis Gaines singing Music of the Night with Tracey Shayne. I mean, it's not a full video, it's from the Kennedy Center Honors. So pause this video and go to the link in the description below to check it out. So we hear him sing, "Leave all thoughts of the life you knew before." I mean, what a line. And this is the fourth house where we leave reality and enter the world of fantasy. I mean, the correlation here between the Phantom and the music of the night in his underworld and what Jung talks about fantasy as soul and psyche, it's just extraordinary. And as an aside, I mean, I think that I just want to add here that I think the deformity of the Phantom symbolizes how we've come to treat the imagination. We conceal it. We have made it ugly and not real, and even deadly, and prefer to hide it away in order to face each day. I mean, you'll see in the videos how there's such a huge emphasis in our world on day that fantasy and imagination sort of gets reduced and hidden away. Yet I wonder if what has drawn people to this show time and time again, and I'm so sad that it's closed, but what had drawn people time and time again across many generations and geographies is we all know how vital the imagination and its seduction is. After all, if Jung is correct, consciousness depends on it. So thank you for tuning in to my latest houses video and not falling asleep. What did you think of this understanding of the fourth house? Do you resonate with it? Does it sound like there's something there? Share your own thoughts in the comments below and check out my other videos in the series. Cheers.